So that, the, perimeter fence will be installed. All that was approved in, this year's budget. Jeremy mentioned last time a little something about, the calls and how I kept up with the calls and what went on with all the officer calls. So, we were able to work with the 911 emergency dispatch center. And every call that is dispatched through the 911 center, the officer on call gets a text about that call, any information that it can relay. And then I get that same text. So to make it clear, the officer on call gets the text. I get a text on every call that comes in or out. So that's been real beneficial to me, knowing what's going on and being able to provide a little extra layer of safety for the officers. The June report, we went over it last time, but it was not complete. So this is the final June monthly report. On surrender returns, 4 cats, $7. Stray cats were 46. Stray dog, 30. In custody for protected for bite or disease quarantine was 1 cat and $8. TNBR service by the shelter was 11. That was cats. Service, which would be my chip, clean, was 27 cats and 10 dogs. Total intakes were 89 cats and 59 dogs. Animal service calls, animal bites, 21. Community outreach, 1. Cruelty, neglect, 34. Enforcement, 48. Law enforcement assist, 3. Stray animals, 67. TNVR, 4. Seizures, 1. We had 18 calls related to wildlife. That was a total of 197 animal control officer calls. Euthanasia, for behavior, 5 cats, 5 dogs. Health, that's conditions injured or we couldn't provide adequate care for, 3 cats, 4 dogs. Rabies tests were none. There were none put down for space, so it was a total of 8 cats and 9 dogs. Outcomes: adopted 10 cats, 13 dogs. Return to owner, 10 dogs. Rescue partner transfer, 27 cats, 29 dogs. Died or either were dead when we got to the call was 1 cat, and in this particular situation, I have personal knowledge, it was a kitten. Euthanasia was 8 cats and 9 dogs. Some type of service that we completed with animals there was 11 cats and 10 dogs. Total outcome was 57 cats and 70 dogs. Low cost vaccine clinic impact, 9 microchips, 62 rabies vaccines, 51 canine vaccines, 26 feline vaccines. Community impact was 20 spay neuter surgeries. So that is a complete report for June as it was presented to me. I started last month going on into current month. Today's report for July is from July 1 until the day, July 28th at 8 a.m. this morning. So today's activity and the rest of this month will be more complete. But intakes, cats on a surrender, or animals that will return to the shelter for some reason, 24 cats and 8 dogs. Strangers, 22 cats, 31 dogs. For protected custody, it was 2 cats and 5 dogs. TNVR service was 19 cats. Microchips or other service by the shelter was 22. Animal service call, animal bites, 14. Community outreach, 1. Cruelty neglect calls was 20. enforcement type calls was 28, law enforcement assist was 1, straight 78, TNP was 8, no seizures, and 17 wildlife calls. And you can imagine a lot of those involve snakes and things with the weather. Some of them were wildlife that were suspected for rabies. Euthanasia, behavior was no cats and 9 dogs. Health conditions was 1 cat and 2 dogs. Rabies tests, there were 5 other, which would be some of those wildlife that had to be utilized to be sent off for testing. No space, so a total of 8 cats and 9 dogs and 5 others that were related directly to rabies. Outcome, adopted 19 cats, 16 dogs. Returned to owner, 2 cats, 13 dogs. Rescue partner transfer, 22 cats, 7 dogs. No animals died or were dead, because so far into that. 1 cat euthanasia, 11 dogs, and 3 others. Service complete call, 21 cats, 6 dogs. Then low-cost vaccine clinic impact, microchips were 9, rabies 146, canine 55, feline vaccinations was 34. There were 16 grave unit surgeries that contributed to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Can you highlight us on the good people that come in and paint it for you and does some good PR work, I think?
Yes, be very glad to do that. That started out with a community service work that had come in and do some community service work. And in talking and reviewing and going over, as y'all have had a chance to look at the consultants' things, that was some things that were recommended, and we were discussing who and how and what it would cost, and she said, if you will allow me, I will do it free of charge. So, I don't want to give out their names, but they were local people, her and her daughter. They came in, they finished the cat visitation room, they have finished the dog visitation room, and they are in discussions with outreach coordinator to what they will do in the audience or the front office. That worked out real well. And the cat room wasn't finished when I sent y'all the picture, but it just shows you the attention to detail and how well it was to work and get some positive community involved. So
They good.
Yes,
Real
sir.
good.
We're really satisfied.
Let me ask you one more. How did the clinic go Saturday?
I don't know the total numbers, they're still working on them, but as always, it was busy from 8 until 11, nonstop. I set it up, Marlon and I set it up at 6, we went for breakfast, we came back well before 8, and I can tell you before 8 o'clock, both lanes of T. Kent Road were blocked in each direction, so the heat did not deter. We, in a lot of our service calls, had recommended people come to get in compliance with some of the orders or directions we issued them in. And when I left the shelter today, they were following up on that, and it looked like most everyone that said they were there was there. So it was a good outcome.
When you planning on scheduling another?
I'll work that out with Tar River. We got a little off schedule because of the 4th, but she will let us know, and we'll try to do better posting it and keep it going. So should be one next month. I think it will be later in the month again, so we can space it out better to get over the July 4th holiday and vacation season.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any old business needs to come before this meeting tonight?
Can we back up and do review and adoption of minutes before we keep moving forward?
You don't have any made minutes, I don't.
March, he didn't have that, I got mine.
You got made?
No, I don't have May, I got March and April.
Well,
I got
yeah, when people ask a question, what
I got
is
March.
the reply?
March, April,
These are
we got that.
going way back, I mean, these are March
I'm
and
not
stuff,
sending
but
May,
Well,
14.
they'll have to like make a consensus on what the minutes should look like, because I guess typically they're just supposed to be an outline, so these are more detailed, so some people push it more, have always pushed more for just the outline and not specifics in it, so.
especially when it's a question asked of the staff, like, you know, I can't find the examples, but, you know, what was the conclusion? You know, like Carla asked about, you know, express concerns about euthanasia, blah, 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 with certain dogs, but then there's nothing about what the reply to that was, so.
Do you have any thoughts?
My mind is that whenever Cooper and previously done, I know with all of our boards, we typically do the same thing, you write out what was discussed. Instead of trying to go minute by minute, because most people aren't recording in order to get a minute by minute. So like the clerk of the board of commissioners, she does that for all of our minutes, like discuss this topic, or this person brought up this topic during our meeting, this person did this. You can decide, how you want to.
Will any of you board members will entertain a motion to approve these minutes?
Well, I see, because, yeah, the questions aren't answered, so we don't know.
Right, it's going, historically going back, looking at them, they're kind of useless, because it doesn't say, you know, what.
So do we not wanna approve them and I'll go back in and edit them
If
to
you
have
know,
answers?
If you have the notes, I mean, I would like that, I think that would be more useful going forward, because then going back and we look to see what was discussed, you know.
And Mays were sent in, but they're not here, so I can update those too.
May's minutes is just gonna be a forum, not a little thing.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Mays. I meant
But then
June's. June's were sent in. Mays was just like she said, like 2 sentences, so. Okay, so we're not approving them then.
Mr. Chairman, if you will accept the motion, I make a motion we accept the minutes and vote on them as presented. We've had this right in our hand for over 60 days. Same thing was handed out to me 2 meetings ago. I don't see any reason we need to edit them.
Well, it'd be nice to know what the answers to these questions, so we know how to move forward. Because there's, I see right here, she's talking about where the questions are, but we don't have what the answers to those questions.
And if, even if it's not in detail, but just to say that so-and-so responded.
Where do you want?
I'm on, April, second page, well, yeah, go on second page, the last 2 sentences of each of Mallory's and Becca's. You know, there was you see the last lines where it was a question, but we don't have an answer.
And I think sometimes there is no answer.
No. Comments that were, that came in, people were asking questions, the answer those questions, were those questions answers, if they were, what was the answer?
I would say if you have the notes to complete those, let's do that, and if not, just move going forward, let's try and have.
Okay, so approve these, but going forward, and if there's no answer given, then I'll put that as well. Okay.
Agreed, so we approve these as is, but going forward, we'll have more complete discussion.
Motion.
I move that we approve these and move on with our lives, and going forward, we'll have more detail.
Motion's been made, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, we can say what it is.
Ma'am, you have that written down over there?
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, before we move on, aren't there some other things that have happened in shelter, like the volunteer program getting going?
Yes,
That-
uh,
about
the
that?
program's going well. I'm gonna say it's on tap, but we don't wanna go too fast. We're going out. We really decided, we're talking about this little slow, to train and really make sure people know what we're doing. I sent the board members a picture of the signs that have been put up, sign that was taken or destroyed on, West River Road to be replaced, and additional sign put across the road from the shelter. And, they worked on leveling up and correcting the sign that's on 56, but it's still not perfect, but it's attached to a bigger sign, so I hope we can get that going. Just, I guess the most important thing was, when the people showed up for the inspection, Ms. Garner was there, she will be leaving. We've got a new state inspector. And, they went through and, they just, it was just a good inspection. And, I had a copy of it, I think I got it, but on the end thing that made me feel good for my staff was that, the shelter was clean, the animals appeared healthy and happy. So for somebody that goes in shelters all over the state to say that, we've improved our vaccination rates, when people come in, animals come in, we've got strict rules to get them vaccinated as soon as possible. And just, overall operation of the shelter is getting smoother and smoother every day.
Are you fully staffed?
Do I?
Are you fully staffed?
We had one leave, but we had another one accept the offer, so we have no openings, but we have one position that the worker, will have to go to orientation before she comes. So,
Do you feel that the number of staff you have is gonna be adequate? So another local shelter in Green County recently had a very large disaster, being that they basically had zero staff.
And, you know, I'm one of those that adapt and overcome, and we're okay, you know. The thing about staff is, I've got 15 total staff. I've been there almost a year, and I can tell you the number of days, if I go back and look, how many days that everybody was there, it would be less than 10 days, so, it's hard work, people come there and, you know, they go through, it's not an enjoyable job every day. Some days when some things happen and it's enjoyable, but, it's pretty much the same thing every day, and the heat and, things that they go through, but, I'm really encouraging my employees, trying to get them to work together as a team to continue. I think the report showed volume of how much work we have done as far as, the enrichment logs on the, kennels now. We put a bigger postcard system of what dogs are adopted, what animals are adopted. Then if there's any, underlying information that we want to give them about behavior issues, or where a dog owner is, one dog gets good long, more and more information is getting put out to the volunteers. And, this is the first month that there has been no fee for the rescue pool. So, that was something that, this group, you know, asked for, and the county was gracious enough to provide it. So, that has worked out well. So, that's just some of the things that I'm aware of.
What kind of jobs are the volunteers doing now, and how many volunteers do you have?
It's probably 10 volunteers. We still got 4 to 6 that are just walking dogs, doing the enrichment, walking the trails, coming in, and they also notify somebody and this witness that they put down the time they walk and things like that. One guy comes in about 3 days a week, then a couple come in on the alternate days. Volunteers still are doing a lot of cleaning, washing the bowls, dishes, and doing the laundry. They do assist in watching, in our astroturf lot out back. You know, there's no perimeter fence, so anytime an animal goes out there, somebody has to be a monitor. And some of the, experienced and people that are very familiar with animals do, fill in that monitor role sometimes, but that's still basically in cleaning. We've always been gigged for, trash and debris under the cat cages. That did not happen this time because that's something the volunteers do once a week. The wheels were put on those cages for a reason, and we use it, we roll around and we clean and sweep. We got high remarks for how clean our food storage room was, basically no scrap. So, the volunteers that are there, that's just as important part of giving us a good state inspection as a staff.
Is, anybody come and brought any of these standard operating procedures that we talked about 2 months ago? A committee was set up, I think was gonna look into it.
Well, that was, partly, that was me, but I have a question, and this really goes back to the county about these SOPs, because, okay, you know, I've sent out the ones that, you know, from Burlington, because writing the SOPs from scratch is an enormous job. I mean, it's almost, I mean, it's like a full-time job. So here's the question to the county. I mean, that's really a county thing, is to write those SOPs or accept them. So I've been looking at them and going through them and highlighting things, but the question is, how much time and effort, I'm not sure how much time and effort I want to put in there if the county, you know, is not part of that process. If that, you know, it's like, I could spend hours and hours and hours, and then the county's just gonna say, well, no, we're not gonna do that, or we, you know, that's not gonna be part of ours. So my question about the SOPs is, they're out there and everything, but I'm not sure that this board has the ability to do that. I mean, we're an advisory board.
I heard that the county was gonna look at some
Right, and
already in place and go with them.
I've sent them out.
Did anybody comment on
But
that?
I don't know what to do. I mean, I could go through there and mark it and say, you know, I recommend, and I can bring it to this board. But that's a county thing. I mean, we're an advisory board, so I'm not sure how much time.
We can send 100 pages
Exactly.
and they look at it,
And the
comes
question,
in trash.
when we say the county, who is the county?
Right, and who does this go to? Who
Like
makes
the
that?
county, or is the county bigger than that?
So I'm not sure.
So, to answer your question, so Cooper and I started working on SOPs back in December.
Right.
So I've got almost a complete draft, first draft of it. So what we kind of need from the advisory board was there anything y'all, because they had to be rewritten, 2008 was just not used to me. So is there anything that, like you mentioned, the rescue, you know, procedures of rescue, because I've gone through several and none of them.
Well, and that's what I gave out last time, if you remember. That's what I did, is I wrote out all the rescue and how you do that. And I don't mind working on that, but I don't want it to be for nothing.
I think we got a lack in communications where, what, 3 months ago, several people in the audience agreed to start working on this. And I had no idea you and Mr. Bolton had already started implementing something.
So the subcommittee that they started was to, again, just look over what the 2008 ones were and just.
They said
So
they
basically,
were coming
the
out.
subcommittee
Exactly.
was
They
go
said we
over
will
the
trash can
2008
then.
ones
Well,
and any recommendations you want.
right, because if you remember in the meeting, when, after that first meeting when we took it on, I looked at the 2008 and realized that really was not the ones about animal control. That was more county, like the dress code for the county. And it was like, okay, so then, if you remember, I said, I don't think there's a reason to reinvent the wheel, and I sent out to people everything that's online for like Burlington Animal Services and said, we can just pull from this and use what we want to. And I know that y'all have been writing it, but we haven't seen anything.
That would be my suggestion. Can we see the first
Can we
draft?
see your draft so that we know where, because that was why I wrote what I wrote last time and gave to Jerry, was the one about the rescue and the intake of animals and, you know, that kind of thing. So I feel like that,
But are we as a committee gonna have any influx or
Right, 'cause I'm not
input
gonna-
on what they're doing? I think that's gonna be all their whole deal right there. They're gonna write it, they're gonna take it to the commission. It's
Right.
done and we out of it.
right, and if we're an advisory group, it would seem like the pattern should be that if you've written SOPs, then we get a copy of what you've written. We look at it and say, okay, we question these things, we recommend maybe you look at it this way before maybe it ever goes to the commission.
Correct.
Because that's what we are, I mean, we're an advisory board. So is there a chance that you can send us what you've done?
Yes, when they're done. So I was hoping to get the feedback from the consultant report, but then incorporate your recommendations into the SOPs. They're not done yet, and I wanted to incorporate the consultant report recommendations, if you guys had any, into that. The original plan was not to take the consultant report to the board. The original plan was to take the consultant report, but anything that you recommend out of that report and put it in the SOPs, and then the SOPs go to the board. So, I mean, we can do it both, we can always present an informational thing on the consultant report to the board, and then also do the SOPs.
Well, do you have like, even like generalized headings, like, you know, I would think with SOPs, you would have categories, or like, you know, here's, you know, intake of animals, here's how you deal with rescues, here's how you deal with that. Do you have that? I mean, that's a starting point, just the broad general categories that, you know, even if the details are not fleshed out.
Yeah, I mean, I can make you just the outline of it, or just the headings, I don't know how valuable that would be. though.
Well, what I was thinking is we've got what you're working on, the generalized headings, then I can look at what I've pulled from other places and say, okay, this one fits here, this one, and then I can send that to you and to everybody else and say, you know, here's something to consider. But, I mean, I know since I started last year, we've been talking about this, but I mean, we still don't have SOPs, and I'm not sure who's the ultimate. I think we're working at cross purposes on this. We've got the county doing it, and we've got us doing it. We're an advisory board, but we don't have anything to advise on. And so I think we're not getting anywhere on these SOPs, and maybe it's not our job, I don't know.
So are we not currently working off the SOPs that the county website shows,
Yeah.
2008?
So that's what we had
That's what
originally,
we're operating off of now, right?
that's what's there now, so that is what is being rewritten, so that there's more content to it. So yes, the county has to write the SOP, because it has to essentially come from the Animal Services Department. So the best function of this board for those is to provide any feedback for what you want to see in it. Now, I can share the categories, but I think it would be more helpful to just share the draft when it's finished, so that you can read the whole thing.
What's the timeline? When are we anticipating this being finished?
Well, I could give it to you probably in a week or two, but it won't have any, that depends on if you want to provide any recommendations from the consultant report. So,
When do we get that? That's what, okay, so, yeah. So-
I would have to say, Jessica, I disagree that the broad categories are not helpful, because that tells us what we're looking at.
Right.
Like, that tells us, it's like a blueprint. Okay, you know, so we're gonna have an SOP about this topic, and we're gonna have an SOP about this topic. That way we would know the broad outline of what, the whole thing. I mean, how does animal control run? You say animal services, is Jerry animal services?
Yes.
So, is Jerry gonna write these? He's looking kind of horrified right now.
So in theory, yes, the animal services department would write the SOP. So unfortunately, because animal services needs to do animal services, we haven't, until just recently, the amount of staff didn't exist to take the time to rewrite the SOPs. So that's where I was brought in to assist with the SOPs along with the former staff attorney. And we could go ahead and get that going, and then when I got done, have animal services review their parts, as they had time. Same with the county attorney, now that the former staff attorney's gone, our actual county attorney, I'm afraid, would have to kind of reevaluate, and then the state needs to evaluate as well. So, I can do the categories, that's fine, and I can do that really easily. The things that would be really helpful are like you said, so you've gone through and you've read, and I agree, none of them ever talk about anything about procedures with rescues. None of them really talk about, procedures with rescues, none of them talk about, like the detail that you need to go into. So, the state gave us the ASPCA template and said, here, start here and work through that. So we did that. We started with the ASPCA template, and in reviewing the ASPCA template, that wasn't even good enough. So we've continued to elaborate on that because we are more than a shelter. We have animal control operations, so that's also in there. But so one of the questions I would say is, if you've been reviewing them, I could use feedback on the level of detail. Because if I'm gonna write it, I would like to write it to the level where we can hold people accountable. But currently, that means my draft is at 100 pages.
Well, here's the thing, and I certainly don't mean this against you personally, but it's kind of like, Dr. Pomerantz said, we've got a neighboring county that basically has a disaster on their hands. The bottom line is, in most counties, you don't have anybody that knows how to run a shelter. I mean, let's be honest. If you had to, that's why you have to go out and get things. I mean, you don't know how to do it. That's why this neighboring county, they could go out and hire somebody, but it won't be somebody who has ever run a shelter and has the knowledge of how to take, and actually run a shelter. So I think that's my thing is, I'm not sure how much background you have in the running and setting up of an animal shelter for a county, as a county facility. So my thing is you're writing something with no actual experience behind you as to, there's what's in writing and there's what's in reality and what happens in the shelter and how it actually works. And sometimes those two things don't go together, which is why I've been going out looking at things that are actually in play, that are being used in shelters every day, written by people who run a shelter. But it seems like we never get anywhere, and the person that for like medical intake and everything medical, we've got a veterinarian. I would think she needs to write that. I would think that the veterinarian would write the medical standards. Who better than a veterinarian to do that, especially a veterinarian that has worked in some big shelters.
Definitely qualified.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, we're writing things, so who's got who's qualified to do this, to say, this is a good way to do it, ASPCA, yeah, they have a template. Correct Shelter Medicine has a better one. They have everything laid out.
Well, let me ask you, is this perfect procedures? Somebody got documented and written out that will work?
Yeah.
Who's got it?
Burlington Animal Services has them online. And
Have y'all looked at that?
I sent it all out, and that's what I'm saying, you wouldn't wanna use, cause they're a big organization, and they have a spade.
We ain't getting looked by no
Right,
one.
but that's what I was asking about the categories, because I was saying, if you say, here we have this category, what I was gonna do is go to the Burlington Animal Services, pull their SOP that matches that category. and say, okay, let's just let's use this one, this one, this one, and this one, but this one doesn't apply to Franklin County, so we won't use that one, and then just kind of plug it in and say, what's your next category? That seems to me to be the quickest and the easiest way to get something, and then bring it to you and to this advisory board and say, here it is, what do you think? Which ones, and I mean, we can say we don't agree with this, and I know that ultimately it's your choice, and it's the county's decision. But, I mean, this has been going on forever. I'm not sure what SOPs they're going by now. I mean, I know in a lot of cases, there's nothing, because I know that Pomerantz has, you know, went in there and said, no, you need to do this and this and this and this, because this is, you know, this is how it should be. And I know they've made those changes. But again, I think we have to look at the expertise of you can't, I mean, if somebody asked me to write SOPs for a company that sold tires, I would be like, I have no idea, because I don't know anything about tires.
If she's already invested and she's got a 100-page draft, let's get that draft so that we can then look at the consultant report, look at Burlington, and incorporate it into your draft.
Yeah.
Even if it's not finished, you know, just whatever you got.
Yeah.
You know, we can work on the parts that you've done, and then if you haven't finished some parts.
And I think maybe divvying it up in the group here, if Tamara's got an expertise in a certain part, she looks at that part. And she goes through and says, I recommend this. You know, if, you know, she's got a, so, I mean, you know, we all bring different experiences here, but I think we're not getting anywhere because we don't have a baseline to draw from, and we don't have the authority to do it. I mean, we're an advisory board. We can't say we want this SOP in here. We can't do that.
Yeah, and I know, I agree with you, 'cause that was you're 100% correct, I was brought in and it was kind of a little odd, I don't even work for animal services.
Right.
So there was a lot of research involved and just Upstart getting involvement in the department to determine what needs to happen, what's currently happening, what are those current SOPs, and then determining that they obviously don't work. So yes, I can share the outline, if that's helpful, or I can share it when it's done, I can do both. But yes, the main thing I need when I share it is I need input and feedback from it, because I can have animal services look at it, I can have the state look at it, I can have our lawyer look at it, but I still need additional feedback, like our vet of record can look at it, but that's one that, you know, you have, in theory, you have to ask more than one vet for things. So, yes, I can do.
Well, I think if you did share what you've done, even if it's both categories and what your draft, we accept that it's not finished, that it's never, but we gotta have something gotta have a starting point.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think we
Make the
do.
perfect the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
So,
Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good, just, let's start with what you got and we'll add to it.
yeah, so aside from incorporating anything from the consultant report, they're basically done. So I can share that first draft. It hasn't been reviewed by the lawyer, hasn't been reviewed by state, so it's gonna need changes. Because again, the county attorney and myself read it. So it's not gonna be 100% correct because I haven't even received feedback from animal services themselves yet. But yes, a side note to that is, yes, I would love feedback from your different areas of expertise, even if it's just as a member of the public. Because there are sections I've got, sections on interacting with the public records requests, just general interaction when you come to the shelter, things like that, that even if you're not a vet or a rescue member, I need that feedback on how that should work in theory. So yeah, I can do that.
Well, I think that would be good. That would kind of give us a starting point.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Jerry, can you highlight on this official start of no pool fees for rescue?
Yes, the Board of Commissioners in the 25-26 budget approved the budget line that they would not charge rescues to pull from the shelter. So, you know, they're able to come in, big animals that they can help us get rid of and move out of the shelter.
And charge no fees.
No fee, yes, sir.
How's it feel?
This is the first month, and it's a bad, to answer that now would be immature, because, people been on vacation, it's kid season, the hot weather has made a lot of people, I think it will help. Like I said, that's something that the rescue people asked for, and the commissioners, were willing to try that. So, I would say that it will not hurt, because we did have some rescues come in and want to pull more than, one or two animals, and, you know, the fee would add up. So now, if they do have the space and the ability to properly care for some animals, the financial thing right there, that shelter, and us not being able to take anything with cash or check, that would smooth that operation out. So I think it will help, and I will keep some records on that.
Thank you,
I might be
Jerry.
able to do that today.
Is, any other comment from the board to be brought up tonight?
I would like to ask, I know that y'all were gonna see about you accepting credit cards.
I can say that that was a question that was brought up with our auditors, the, finance people here, and the auditing group, whoever they were, I did not get that information. And, that is something that they were gonna go back and work and try to get worked out with, the county manager's office and actually the finance people that were there, to get something that would be, safe for the county. So that is in the works still.
That's in the consultant's report as well.
Yeah.
I recommend
Well, I mean, that's a huge deal.
Do other county offices accept credit cards?
But they all use different vendors. And the problem that we ran into with, this one is that the original administration set up the credit card, under the vendor that our software company uses, and they weren't properly vetted against IT security, and so they were determined to not be good for the security of the system. So it had to be turned off. Our software vendor has since added a new credit card vendor, so we're hopeful that we can do that.
Do they charge fees for
Yeah, all of them do.
$3 fee?
I don't know if it's $3, but all of them do.
I mean, that's just common. I mean, we have a company that, you know, we accept donations through, and the people usually pay the fee. I mean, that's what we ask, but, yeah, I think that's a big thing for people that want to adopt. You know, they may not have cash. I mean, a lot of people don't deal in cash anymore. Being able to do is a huge deal, and I know this is another thing that's been going on for the longest time, about the credit cards, and I know most shelters do accept credit cards, even over the phone. They'll let you give a credit card, and, you know, cause if we pull from somewhere far away, I just call in and give the card over the phone, so it's certainly not an unusual thing.
No, definitely not unusual.
So is there a time frame on that, when they're gonna actually look at it, or are they just, is that one of the things that's gonna shelve?
So it's being looked at now. I don't know a timeline, because I think what we're planning to do is use our actual banking institution. And to do that requires us to not change our banking institution for a while. So I don't know if we have a timetable on that. I do know that if we get it set up through our vendor, through PetPoint, then it almost doesn't matter who we use. If we can get it set up with PetPoint to accept credit cards for us, we can use any credit card vendor. We use our bank, we could use Stripe, we could use any of them. And it should just route through the PetPoint software. So I don't have a timeline, but that's what we're hoping to set up.
Do other county departments and functions not use debit and credit cards as far as like inspections or permits?
Yeah, so planning inspections uses the Stripe vendor. Parks and Rec uses, our actual banking institution, First Citizens. So So each department uses something different.
So you can't just transfer that to this department, just use what they're using, I mean, Stripe is common, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of places. We would go under as a rescue if it took us this long to take credit cards, I mean, this just seems very bizarre to me that it's been almost a year and the county cannot figure out how to pay credit cards. That's just, I mean, in the real world, in a business, you would close if you couldn't take credit cards after a year.
Credit cards are almost becoming extinct too. I mean, we're moving on to Apple Pay and all those things, and if you don't catch up, like, there's a lot of people.
I mean, it's just so strange. It's like if you've already got something, you're using Stripe, then why can't the chamber use Stripe? If you've already vetted that vendor, you know, use Stripe.
That's the plan, hopefully, use at least one of the two we're already using and get it set up with our vendor in at that point, so that it'll link up to the record. I know one of the concerns was the receipt, so if the credit card didn't match up to the actual outcome of the animal, there were concerns about the finances not matching up.
What do you mean the outcome of the animal?
So like when you do, an adoption, the animal record has the outcome in there, so it's adopted by so-and-so. And then you generate a receipt, and that's how you get a receipt for the transaction when they paid their rescue fee. So if they're paying by a credit card, that's that's not part of the system, it's secondary. So the concern was, okay, well, what happens if they use a credit card and it doesn't get put into the system, that credit card transaction comes in, so now the auditor's gonna come back and say, okay, was this paid? Did it happen? So the goal was to have the credit card vendor set up in PetPoint, they're supposed to be able to do that, so that those receipt items actually show that a credit card was used, and this is the amount, and, hopefully capture a signature of some kind, so that we know we can go to our auditor and say, yes, it was paid, here it was, there's a person, there's a signature, and all that. So,
It just seems so odd to me, because, I mean, our system, somebody pays with a credit card, it shows up on my email right there, I got the name, got the amount, got the address, got everything, it's just like that. They put their credit card in, boom, there it is.
Funny what she's saying, it needs to be integrated to PetPoint, but so is somebody from PetPoint helping you to do this? Seems like
Yes.
that should be one of their people should be
they
able to.
wanted to charge lots of money to assist with that. So, we're trying to, I've been working with our finance department to just try and set up one of these two vendors that we already have and not utilize their extra service.
Have we looked into upgrading our PetPoint policy so that we get some more services without having to pay a la carte?
Technically, we already did that. We got a free upgrade, in January, I believe. We got a free upgrade on services. But it didn't include, it includes credit card service, but you have to use the vendor they have for the system. And then if you want to set it up with a different vendor, that's an extra charge for that service. So, like, lots of things. So it's being worked on. I don't have time to get into it.
Any other comments from any board members? Any other business? Any comments from the public?
Jerry, I'm actually in the meeting last meeting early.
You don't have it on the agenda, ma'am, but, if you would, please stand up, state your name, and you got 5 minutes.
Oh, it'll take 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carla Rossage, 1490 Old Halifax Road, W1. What I wanted to say last month, and I had to rush out, I knew back in March, April, we were talking about the reports and the numbers, and we really thought that May was gonna be higher numbers than what we had in March, April. Turns out that they were actually lower. I think so May and June were lower, so I appreciate the trend in which we're going with euthanasia, so that is a positive to me. I just want to let you know that the staff and the shelter, they take extremely quite professional time, so also appreciate it. And to the answer about the change in the pool fees for the rescues, I think it's immensely helpful, because, I think Amber was gonna have uphill battle trying to recruit new rescues to come in and pull from the shelter with the exorbitant pool fees that were there. So I think that's a great step in the right direction of getting more rescues to come in.
Hey, Krista Duncan, 834 Deep Valentine Lynn Road. I like the, I just want to tell Jerry, I like the, paintings and things that are going on and that was needed, and it's a very good improvement. Is there any plans for anything more? I know some places have graphics and things like actually on the exterior of their building. Is there any plans for anything like that? And then, I had seen some signs, and I think I may have given Jessica a copy a while back, but I think community engagement wise, it would be nice to have some other types of signs that say like, today's a great day to adopt a shelter pet. You know, just like positive messages for the public. And then I had a question, you said that there's no openings because the newest person has agreed to take a position. But what position is that, and whatever happened to us having a cruelty officer? And then my other question is, you talked about the coverage using the animal services officers. Do we have somebody on call for a 24/7 period? Like, you know, if it happens in the middle of the night, is there a schedule of officers that they can respond to those calls? Because in the past, I have heard a lot of complaints about, you know, people would call and no matter what the time was, but they would say, you know, oh, nobody's on duty right now, or, you know, they can't do anything until they reopen on Monday, they won't do anything over the weekend. So I'm just curious with, you know, now that we are finally pretty much fully staffed, is that something that has been addressed, that there's 24/7 coverage for emergency situations?
Yeah, I'm gonna start answering your last question first,
Okay.
and then I get.
Okay.
We do have 4 officers, we do have 1 officer on call around the clock.
Okay.
And, that's when we call to the shelter and it refers you to the 911
Right.
center.
Okay.
And then that call is logged in, and they have a schedule of the on-call officers. And they attempt to call him, or the officer several times, if that doesn't work, they go back to a reserve. And like I say, I get notification of all the calls, and 2 or 3 calls go out and nobody answers, you know, I make a decision on what we're going to do, so it's 24-hour coverage. There are some things that we try to put off until the morning, like if it's a stray animal or something and they don't see it anymore or anything.
Right.
But if it's a bite or anything that involves animal safety and public safety, that person responds.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I remember something about, the outside signage and signage to engage the public. And every chance I get, I study and look at things that, Kyra and some of her people send to me. I go to the recommendations that were in the consultant's thing, and, but something inside was simple and easy, and, average person and the animal care technician people could, agree on. So when it comes outside, we'll get zoning and planning in the town of Roseboro and people like that. We'll get more, structure to make sure we can do it. Then the animal care technician was one that left, and that is who will come back. An experienced one will come in as soon as the next orientation is an offer was made, she accepted, she'll have to go through the orientation. Then, on Monday in the very near future, she will come to us. The animal cruelty officer position, we, being myself, county manager, staff attorney at that particular time, took that position back to HR, and they are trying to redefine or rewrite the job description, because we found some things in all those things I mentioned, studying, talking to other people, that really weren't in our ability to do with outside of our shelter. So that's, that position is out there, but it was put on hold because they wanted to make sure that they covered as many, situations that we were going to need in, animal cruelty. One particular really being, you know, having the authority to declare animals dangerous, the proper way to seize animals, and how those boards that go along with that position. So it's one of those things that we always talk about, that it's slow, but it's in the making, and, I think we caught it ahead of time from just pulling animal cruelty officer application and job description, and then trying to make it work for Franklin County. So, it's in the making, and, so HR, they'll get it done, and then it'll go to county management, they'll approve it, and then our people will get it. And so it's still there, but it was put on hold to fine tune, to make it better for Franklin County, is the way I would describe it.
But the money is still
The
budgeted
money
for
is
it.
still there.
So when you say you're fully staffed except for that position?
That's right, with all
Okay.
my available positions, is how
Right.
I would clarify that.
Okay, I just wondered, because when you said fully staffed, I was like, do we have a full
They
officer?
They did pull that so far as it being available, and I will tell you, a lot of that came when, we interviewed the first time for the animal cruelty thing. We learned a lot, and so I admire the HR person that was in the interview for making that decision. It's better to get it done correct, and now you'll have to refresh my memory to any other questions.
I have to refresh my own memory.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
DSAM 635 Lake Royale, Lewisburg. I was at the shelter today, pulled 3 kittens, and just wanted to say, everything looks like it's really going better. Finally got the signs up. I was trying to get that done 15 years ago with the county, not with you guys, obviously, with the county commissioners. That's what we needed, the road above the shelter, 56, and then one seated like this, whereas the building goes like that. You have to have that for visibility. And I love your idea of having, maybe a sign below that saying today's a great day to adopt a shelter pet, just something very simple like that. You just put that thought in people's head. I brought a check in to write out for $45 for the $15 each. She said, no fees. They changed that, so that's fantastic. That's another good thing to bring in, rescues, which are so vital to a shelter. And, Amber was telling me that you guys hadn't had to put down any animals for space, to make space. So that's good, options are going good, and of course you have to manage it. If you're too full, you can't take them, and that's part of that. I'm also reading Kara's book, Who Will Let the Dogs Out, and learning a lot about the terminology. You guys should all get that book, and with her going around to different shelters in the southeast, it really gives you a perspective of what's going on in different shelters and the terminology, limited intake and open intake. I didn't have any idea what these actually meant. So, good book to read. It's short, and she makes some really good points. So, glad you let her come in. That's excellent. And go to the other shelters, see what they do that work or didn't work. That's great. And volunteer program that's coming along. She's telling me that everything looks positive. It, like you said, it's getting better. So, appreciate you.
Sure. Come on, Paul.
And, now, on that, the people that need to follow the people that work. at-
Well, Tim, please complete these,
I'll
Bob.
convey it to them,
You got some positive.
And even going back to some of the signage that you were talking about, that will be something, some of those activities that will be engaged volunteers in. So, when we get our volunteers fully vetted and, understand the positive approach and, professional, that's when we want to bring some of these other programs in. Managed intake, the shelter diversion, all of those things are things that I didn't know that we could think about, so I reached out everywhere. So, in terminology, we practice managing intakes. There's a whole lot better than saying we ain't taking them in.
Or open intake, where they have to put animals down, where you're at.
This-
They just take them, and then somebody else is gonna die.
It's a learning curve for me, but I got the animals, in the right place, I'm doing everything I can for people and animals.
Do we have anybody else?
Jerry, I just had, one more question when you mentioned volunteers. Those applications are not online, right? Is that something, Jessica, that we can do? Because I know the volunteer applications for like boards are online. But if you want to volunteer with the shelter, you have to go physically get it, fill it out, physically bring it back.
Amber's working on that, and that's a hiccup we got when the staff attorney left, but,
Okay.
that is really, really close to being able to be done. That and the background situation that we were working out, all of that is coming together. So it's a work in progress still, and I know y'all like to hear that, but,
Okay.
this elephant that we have, we're eating in a mouthful at the time, I promise.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna recognize this lady in green because she was before.
My name is Elisa Gunn. My name is Elisa Gunn, 31 Wayback Road, Louisville, North Carolina. I was just, had a question about maybe, when owners come to surrender their animals, whether it be a dog, a cat, a rabbit, a bird, it don't matter. Is there any kind of, way that you can, why are you surrendering this animal? Is it for cost? Is it for medical issues? Is it for your own health? Can we, like, educate you? Can, you know, as you as the officer or the director, is there any way we can help you keep your animal so that it does not have to come into a shelter environment? You know, education for the public, especially on owner surrenders. Strays, I understand, but when somebody comes in, and you can tell on their faces or in their voice, like me, I'd be devastated if I had to bring my animals in. I'd be devastated. You'd probably have to put me in a cell with those animals. But, you know, I would feel comforted if you said, hey, Ms. Gunn, is there any way I can help you keep your animal at your home? And you know, let them think on it. Or even if you have to bring that animal in for a day or two and let them think about it. And if they don't come back after that animal, then you know they were just good. But, you know what I'm saying, education.
We practice that, and I would put that in the terminology of minute intake. If there's anything, that we can suggest, we do it, and, we offer to help them get it out to the public. We ask about family members and different things. We really, really research it. And then a lady told me just, Friday, and it really made me understand this, you know. She brought some cats in that, due to circumstances beyond her control, she couldn't keep it. When I was asking her a lot of these questions, she looked right at me and she said, "Do you think any owner that had these cats in this shed would want to, put them in the shelter?" So, you know, a lot comes with it, but I was able to connect her with somebody, and we diverted those cats that had all the records and everything to,
You know,
somewhere else.
for me personally, I have several people in my neighborhood, and I mean, I can even get them to sign affidavits for proof that I will personally go buy a bag of dog food, a bag of cat food, bird seed, chicken scratch. Because, you know, I might drive by and see it, you know, hey, this animal is looking a little thin to me, because I think they're all supposed to be fat, but you know, I'll actually pull up into the yard and say, hey, you know, my name is so-and-so, and I live right down the road, I'm your neighbor, I am an animal lover, and if you don't want me here, all you gotta do is say leave, it'll hurt my soul, but then I'll think about it forever and ever. But is there any way I can help you? Can I buy you a bag of food? Or can I even come down here and feed your animal? I have a lady down the street, for 3 years, I've been feeding their dogs. You know what I'm talking about? They put up kennels for them. For 3 years, every single night, unless there's a thunderstorm, and I don't wanna get electrocuted. I go down there every evening and feed those 2 dogs. For the simple fact, they have a little girl that's autistic. And I even have locks on their kennels just because she has actually let them out, that they come running to my house because they've been there before, but, just something like that, you know, hey, if you'll hang on, let me give you Lisa's number, or you can call me personally and say, hey, I have this situation.
They already
I don't
have
know.
these programs, they're working on these things
Okay,
already.
I don't know.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I just want further clarification on what you're saying about the volunteer program. So it is launched and you can get applications, okay, and you just have to go in person.
You can call and they'll send you one, or you can in person, come and fill it out. But the applications are there, they were vetted by the staff attorney, with the, release agreement was what we had the most issues with, but you do get that, and then, we had to develop a program or policy for HR to do the background, but they accepted that, so that is in work, it is working. Yes,
Okay.
it is working.
So was it announced or something? I left social media, the world's a better place.
Right, I agree with
So
you.
is there like, I mean, yeah, was it announced somewhere or like?
We discussed it a lot, but if you were listening to what I said earlier, we're not really wanting to be overwhelmed with volunteers until we get, you know, a schedule and different grades or stages of volunteers. And so we're really going slow with it to try to get it correct, but once we got the background, settled out with HR, it's beginning to be a much smoother process.
So how are you choosing who to include right now?
We take the applications, and Amber is doing most of that, so, and I think most of the applications that we have at least been reached out to. Some people that put in applications did not respond, so, but, the number of applications and the people that we're working with is pretty much equal right now. But it will get to the point, I think, that we have a backlog, and we are in the process of trying to determine which number we want to stop at. That's why we're visiting a lot of the other shelters that have existing, volunteer programs, and trying to get more scheduling involved, you know, and that's something that I'm really, really working on. It's a little trial and error, but it's come a long way since I've been back.
I just wanna make sure that the best people get included for the right jobs, like what Juan was saying before about tire specialists. You know, and right now it just sounds like Amber is like letting random people know, so just like, make sure that the people are fully.
That, look, I'm like you, I don't go social media way much, but, we try to stay, I get ridiculed a lot because when I do something, it has to be done equally. I can't pick and choose, whatever I do, it's got to be done equally, so I would really address that with my staff.
Yeah, I'd like to see some evidence of inclusive volunteers.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anything else that needs to be brought before this meeting tonight?
I meant to bring this up earlier, but I want to make, I don't think we need to meet every month, especially now we're waiting on the SOPs. If y'all think it may be every other month or once a quarter that we should meet.
And I just,
Because we're just an advisory board, that's all we are. We can't do anything, you know what I'm saying?
We can agree in the week.
Yeah.
once you get the SOP situation sorted out and they're really on autopilot or something, but unfortunately, they're still flying blind, they still don't have procedures. And up until this point, it used to be a quarterly meeting, which is pretty much useless because, you know, what are you gonna do at a quarterly meeting? Nothing. So.
I feel like these have, you know, I'm still trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing if she's writing the SOPs and, you know, I mean, I'm coming here every Monday, what am I doing?
You know, unfortunately, some members of the board have pertinent experience to relay information, and unfortunately, other people are more just concerned citizens, and we're not really at the point of concerned citizens, we're at the point of trying to get organizational stuff done. So,
Well, I take the motion, like, what's up? I have a motion to adjourn. Got a second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.